My friends, there is more to being a great mixer than just pushing knobs and figuring out nice EQ curves. Or is there? Yeah, I think there is, and I'm talking about the not so talked about skills of a great mixer. These have a ton to do with the interactions you have with people that you're working on stuff with. It can be the reason someone wants to come back to you in the future, or the reason that you never get a recommendation again. Well, don't worry, because by the end of this video, you'll know the tips you need to become a better mixer. I'll make sure to add a little guide that you guys can look at once in a while, which will be available in the description below. So what's happening, fam? Miami here with JST, and these are some tips and tricks that I picked up while navigating my audio path. Some of these might seem obvious to some, but like a treasure trove to others. It really depends on the person, because as mixers, we all have unique experiences with artists each and every day. But one thing that will be the same no matter what walk of life you're currently on: things can go wrong at any moment and flip your whole world upside down. So let's get into the first tip. Getting pulled into band drama. This one is insane, like literally insane. When you're talking to a member of a band that is clearly calling the shots and they try to get you on their side, it can cause issues with the rest of the band and yourself. You have to take into account that the relationships you have with those band members is going to determine how they perform all of their material and how they view you later on. And you have to be careful, because there will always be some way for a band member to convince you to take their side. Maybe because they wrote all of the songs, or even worse, because they paid for everything. Now you're in this odd predicament in which you have to agree with them or risk not getting paid for the project. Get yourself out of that dumpster fire situation. To get myself out of a dumpster fire situation like that, I just won't mix until I've been paid at least half the amount up front, and then the other half once the first half is completed. You can have a talk with the bandmates and let them know that you can all come up with a solution to whatever problem there is together. They will appreciate you for this and not adding all of that unnecessary drama, because trust me, if there is one talent kids in a band have, it's not necessarily playing an instrument. It's knowing when someone else in the band asks you to do something specifically. Stay out of the situation at all costs. Going on to number 2, knowing when to stand your ground or not. This one has 2 parts, so we're gonna make a point and then play devil's advocate. There are times you're going to work on projects in which you have a disagreement with your clients. The client is the customer, and the customer is always right. But are they? I feel like one of the big issues I see in modern up-and-coming engineers is not being able to realize when the client is making a very bad decision and just going along with their requests, even if it will ultimately affect the project. At the end of the day, you're the mixer, and your name's gonna go on the project as well. So you need to find a way to get through to the artist in a way that they understand you, and you obviously have their best interest at heart. To play devil's advocate now, as a mixer, you also need to know when to not argue for no reason. If the artist wants the hi-hat to be 1 dB louder, but you think it's sitting perfectly in the mix, is it really worth the argument you're gonna get into with this otherwise good client who might not want to come back to you? All you really have at the end of the day is your relationships with people in the music industry. So you have to be sure to pick your battles. On to our next tip, taking criticism. This is a really tough one for a few reasons. The first reason being, when it comes to art, everything is so subjective, it's impossible for everyone to agree on one thing. But one thing you have to realize when you're working on someone's project is you're essentially doing a collab. That's what it is. A collaboration between an artist and engineer. And this means that at the end, you both need to be happy, so that means you need to give a little and take a little. Remember this one thing. And if you also recorded the project, the client is already giving a little. You've directed them to the initial point, and now they're probably looking for a little bit of compromise back. Even if you just mixed it, every single plugin or hardware that you've added was a decision on your part. So don't get upset when the client isn't fully happy with your mix. Take it as a chance to understand your collaborator and even how the collab could work out a little bit better in the future. It's all about the end goal, so just try to make the best out of something you can both be proud of, and don't let it turn into a personal thing. It's easy to get into the habit of not thinking the artist has anything valuable to add, but if you didn't think they were a good artist with a dope vision, why did you? Actually, this brings me to my next point, number 4. Stop working on projects that you don't enjoy. There is nothing that brings out a lackluster mix from a mixer than having them work on something they don't even like. Think about any time you actually do this in your real life. Things that turn out to be the best are things you're actually interested in. Your relationships, your hobbies. You'll always be better off doing what excites you. And I know sometimes you just need some side cash, but mixing is truly an art. And once you start doing it strictly to get paid, you've pretty much lost your way. This is why I always recommend that people get the basics of mixing different genres down so that they can find which one they like the most. And the craziest thing is sometimes you like mixing a genre that you don't even find yourself regularly listening to. I actually love mixing country music, but it's not like it's my go-to thing to listen to. But yeah, working on projects that you aren't interested in can almost guarantee you aren't going to give it 100%. And then your name, once again, goes on that product and people hear it. And then they don't want to work with you, and so on and so forth. Just a few wise words from Miami at JST. And last but not least, number 5, learning when to take a break. It's so easy to get caught up in a mix for days. I've done it. It's been a couple years, but there have definitely been points in my mixing career in which I would sit and work on the same mix without eating, sleeping, even knowing what day it is. You name it, I did it. And this is one of the worst habits to have because after a certain point, you're guaranteed going to have diminishing returns. If I had to tell you one thing that changed everything for me, it would definitely be learning when to stop. Take a deep breath and come back to it at a later time. All you're doing by continuing is fatiguing yourself. So instead of making yourself overly tired, just give it a couple hours. Rest your mind and especially your ears. I promise your mix will thank you. So let's go over all of these one more time. Getting pulled into band drama, knowing when to stand your ground or not, taking criticism, stop working on projects that you don't enjoy, and learning when to take a break. These are not the technical aspects of being a mixer, but they're just as important, if not more important, than any EQ move that you're planning on making. And we want to make the experience enjoyable, not just for ourselves, but for all those that we have to work with as well. And it's not just going to happen overnight. It's going to take a little bit, but day by day, making these changes will help not only improve your mixes, but improve your way of life and the way you handle situations. But for us, it starts right here. Are there any points on here in which you struggle with? Are there any things that you think that I missed? Let me know in the comments below and we will chat about it like we always do. If you're an engineer on the come up, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. You only have to do it one time and tap that bell for notifications so when a video drops, you know the location. Till next time, I am out of here. Mic drop. Yo, I've been dropping a lot of these mics lately. Like we gotta start doing this thing where like every time I drop one, like a dollar sign goes up here and we get to I don't know. I'll catch you guys later.